Hello, everyone. I'm Sue Delera, and I am one of the nurse cluster coordinators in the district. And I'm going to highlight for you the difference between 504 plans and ISHPs for hopefully clarification. So the overview will be giving those key points of 504 plans, ISHPs, the school nurse role in being a team member and working collaboratively together with you. And then I'm just going to go over some sample 504 accommodations that you can see. And of course, I'm available for questions if we don't have enough time today. My contact information is there. You can always call me. That's my cell number, or reach out to me via email. So just hitting back on some of those key points of that 504 is that students can be eligible even if their disability does not limit their learning. And I think that, we have to consider how the impairment that they have or the disability they have is affecting that major life activity. Students can earn good grades and have a disability and be eligible for 504 services. A lot of times this is very confusing because the impairment is limiting a major life activity. It's regardless of whether that student is performing well academically. And when 504 teams rely on students' grades or their GPAs, they tend to make wrong assumptions and inappropriate determinations of eligibility. Physical and mental impairments expected to have a duration of 6 months or less are considered transitory and not within the definition of having a disability. But especially for our secondary schools, students that have had concussions and they're not progressing well and they cannot return to learn, at some point we have to have a discussion if a determination is needed to provide the accommodations and services through Section 504, which can be entirely appropriate. Post-concussion syndrome can be difficult to determine a resolution date. It can resolve in 3 months. It can persist for a year or longer. So even though we kind of have that 6 months or more, it can be case by case depending on what impairment the child is experiencing. Episodic impairments are those that occur periodically or can be in remission, but they're considered a disability if they were in the active phase. They would substantially limit a major life activity. So things that would fall under this would be students with type 1 diabetes, students with severe anaphylactic allergies, students with severe asthma. Those are kind of some examples for those episodic impairments. And again, Section 504 addresses access to education. Students' individual needs must be met as adequately as students without disabilities or non-accommodated students. And it's really important to always remember that separate is not equal. So when we talk about the school nurse role, I know many times that you guys can feel alone in this process. You've got teachers busy, as Renee pointed out, with IEP meetings and other meetings. A lot of times admin don't attend these meetings. But I just want you to know that your school nurses are there to support you and collaborate with you through the process. And this is some of the things that they can help and assist with. They can help in identifying students that have health-related need for services and accommodations. They can also assess students' functional and physical health status. They are the ones that will develop the ISHPs, and those are based on nursing assessments and medical orders, and we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But they can also help with recommended health-related accommodations or services that student's going to need to access their educational program. They're going to know about that disease, how it's going to impact them, and what some of those accommodations that they're going to need in the classroom. We provide in-service training for teachers and staff regarding individual health needs of students. We train staff to provide specialized healthcare procedures. We can participate in your transition planning. And of course, we can be part of that evaluation process. And is this 504 effective in the health-related components, and help revise as needed. So what's an ISHP? It stands for, next slide, Eddie. Thank you. It stands for Individualized School Health Care Plan. And it's really our guiding document to student-specific healthcare. It's the who, what, where, when, and how we're going to provide care and how we're going to manage their disease in the school setting. It's based on standards of care, and it's regulated by the Nurse Practice Acts. It is solely a nurse responsibility. This cannot be delegated to unlicensed individuals. It's what we use to communicate between staff as well as parents and the student. It provides for continuity and consistency of medical care. Unlike the 504, it's a very flexible and fluid document. We can update it anytime. Sometimes we're doing it daily till we get a kid stabilized and we really figure out what accommodations and supports they're going to need and how we're going to provide that care. Anytime a doctor's order changes or their need changes, we just update it. It doesn't require a formal meeting to revise and do that. Unlike 504s, ISHPs do not require parental consent. We will take those medical orders, we will take the Nurse Practice Act, we will take our district protocol, California Ed Code, and we create those plans. And that is how that care will be executed. We always want to document in the 504s and IEPs as well that a student has an ISHP, but we never want to attach those plans. I know in the past that was normal practice and we did that, but we no longer do that. So never, you can check the box that they have the ISHP, but just never attach the plans to the 504. So is every student that has an ISHP eligible for Section 504 services? The answer is no. And examples of that could be a student who maybe had surgery, and post-op, they're going to need some accommodations at school, maybe help with mobility, wheelchair, someone pushing the wheelchair, maybe help with toileting, maybe some help with note-taking or, organizing themselves in the classroom. But very short term, we would just have an ISHP for that. And then hopefully they would recover and be on their own. And the inverse of that is, does every student that has a 504 plan require an ISHP? And again, the answer is going to be no. And a perfect example would be a student with a diagnosis of ADHD. They may need accommodations to access their education, but typically we do not do ISHPs for those students. So just a quick little review, just to break it down simple. An ISHP is for the need for a plan of care to manage health issues in the school setting. A 504 is for the need for accommodations for educational access. And then I just threw the IEP in here, just so you can also see what that specifically is for, and that is need for services for educational benefits. So that just really, in a nutshell, kind of identifies the difference amongst the three. And I know we talked about accommodations earlier, but again, just some highlights. They are changes that remove barriers. They provide equal access to learning. They assist and help students to work around their challenges, but they do not change what is expected of a student to know or learn, and they never lower expectations. So here's just some samples. I'm sure sometimes when you sit down and you're going to write out that 504 and it's like, what does a student need? What's appropriate? And this is really where you can also tap in your nurses to help outside of the teachers when it comes to the health side of it. So here's an example of a student with type 1 diabetes, and that's what they all are. And I'm just going to show different areas of difficulty. So this is thinking that the student is going to be able to check their blood sugar level prior to all standardized and benchmark testing to ensure it's within normal range. And if it's too low or too high at that time of testing, that they're going to be permitted to take the test at a different time without penalty. So that's just kind of one of those. Here's another one area of learning, that the teachers would provide or arrange for academic support for any critical concepts or information missed during their absence from class due to illness, diabetes care, or medical appointments. Caring for oneself. This is that we always need someone on site that is trained in diabetes care, that can monitor blood glucose levels, that can provide care for hypo and hyperglycemia, which is low and high blood sugar. They can administer glucagon, which is an emergency medication. So in order for that child to access their education, to safely be at school, we need to have someone on campus that can manage their disease. And that's basically what this is saying. Again, access to education. And one last one, and this is where I always, if the student has an ISHP, I would encourage you to always have this included. And what it does is it's directly linking their ISHP to their 504, saying everybody needs to follow that ISHP. That medical plan and care for that student has to be followed. That's it. There's my contact information. Feel free to reach out anytime. There's 7 coordinators in the district. We are kind of geographically located. We are all happy to help. You can reach out to me, and if you have something very specific at your site, I'm happy to help with that. I can also refer you to the coordinator that's assigned to your school, but we are here to help and support you.
So I just want to talk about 3 items here that we have in special programs. So one is that I don't know if they are familiar with the immersive reader in the documents. That's a wonderful feature in the application that will help you to do interpretations in any language, and also to help you with the student parents that might have difficulty for reading through the plan. So if you use this tool, Immersive Reader, that you'll find it on the top of the screen under your user initials, then you can activate it and go through the document with the parent, or give it to the parent to go through it. And it will read through the document in the language that you indicate. Also, it can go slow or even put some dictionary or translations. You'll find all the information for the immersive reader here in the under help. You go to other sources and then find immersive reader. The next one I wanna bring up is that we are releasing the parent portal next month for the parents, and then they will have access to the special ed and 504 program documents for the students through the portal. So they will, when they enter into their parent portal, they will navigate same like you from Power School to the student. They will go to the little other applications on the right top, and then navigate into special programs, and they will be able to see the student and the document listed there. There's gonna be a job aid on how to find the documents, because it's a little bit tricky for the parent, different from what you see as teachers, but it's a great help for the parent to connect. The other one that we're gonna have this fall, probably at the end of, we'll go until the end of the year, winter break for you guys for 504, but we're gonna integrate a electronic signature to the documents. So it will help you to indicate that the parent is gonna sign electronically. They were gonna receive an email, review the document, and sign the document electronically. It's called digital signature. And then it will, anybody that will receive a link. Anybody participating in the plan will receive a link to sign. So the parent will receive an email with the link. They will navigate through it and save their signature, avatar signature, and then sign. Also, staff will be asked to sign as participant in the meeting plan. So that's like the new features that we have for special programs other than the regulars.
Thank you, Sylvia. Sylvia, so still the number one question that we do get is, when will the wingding be available for 504 in the regular Power School section? Do you happen to have an answer for that?
We are still working on it, and we are looking for this month on the next, but that's like my number one dedication right now. After the CalPAS, CalPAS took a lot of time from the previous months, so that's why. But right now we're looking into the whole integration between the SIS and special programs to be more coordinated. We are now receiving all the information, demographic information, classes, all of that from the SIS to special programs. We are now looking into every outlet from special programs to the SIS for 504 and also for special ed, starting with 504.